Hey, Jimmy Beach here with Alien Skin Software. We have another great tutorial in store for you today. We'll be learning the basics behind a successful high-key look with Exposure 3. Let's begin inside of Photoshop CS5. Here we have our before and our after. Now we've gone with a black and white film here, and we've brightened up the skin and given our highlights a bit of a glow, and we've also punched up the contrast a bit, and then the icing on the cake here was a smooth white vignette. So now that we have an idea of where we're headed, we'll choose our original image and we'll open up Exposure 3. So we go up to Filter, down to Exposure 3, and this is black and white. Now let's start out in the settings panel with our infrared presets. We'll choose fog. Now infrared is often used in landscapes to brighten the greens up, but it works in high key as well when you're brightening the skin and making it look a little bit more healthy. Just a neat little trick. Let's intensify this effect over in the Color tab. I'll start by manipulating the conversion from the color to the black and white. These sliders control the contributions of red, green, and the blue channels, and this is an equivalent of using a color filter when you're shooting on black and white film. We'll use the red slider here, and we want to make this tiered down with red being the most heavy, and then the green, and lastly the blue. Now this is going to cut out on the digital noise, red being the least noisy of these three inputs. It makes things like skin smooth, whatever the complexion. Alright, toning down here on the bottom, let's find our strength first. And now we want to tell it where we want it to appear, and we want this one to be in the shadows. Okay, now we'll choose a color here, make it a blue. Good. Now we can add another here on the bottom if we want to, but for this example, let's just use the one. Let's double check that our grain is off here as we go to the grain tab. Now let's skip over to infrared. Now, color contrast is usually for landscapes, but here it does something interesting with the hair and with the eye. Now this parameter mimics infrared film by brightening the greens like plants and darkening blues like sky. So I'll punch that up just a bit. Now the more important sliders on this tab are for halation, opacity being the number one. Halation will make the light values have a glow. The spread is the amount of expansion that we choose for that nice angelic look. Lastly, the Age tab, we want to make it white, all the way to the left, and we're simulating that type that's made in a dark room. So that's usually an oval shape. Obviously this image is a square, so there goes driving that point home, but we'll leave it in the middle for if we want to use this preset on a rectangular image at a later time. Let's fiddle with the softness here to keep our subject in this shot. She is favoring that edge, and we don't want to cover her up. A bit of a tweak on the size, just a bit, and we're done. Now I'm going to press Ctrl S or Command S and save this setting, and I'll give it a title, high key, fashion, and I'll put it in a folder, extreme, and I want to make a comment so that I remember what I did. Smooth white vignette. We explore settings management a bit more in another video, but for now, build good settings hygiene and organize your custom settings. So we'll apply and we'll take a look at our new image. And let's look back at our original and our new. It's that easy. Now I hope that you have picked up a few tips along the way during this tutorial. If you ever feel lost, it's always a good option to choose a preset and then fiddle around with the sliders to explore in Exposure 3. You'll likely find something that you really like. Today we've covered black and white conversion tips in regard to high key. We went over toning, infrared, and we did a vignette. We also saved our custom setting for future use. I'd like to refer you to our website, www.alienskin.com, where we have a great deal of additional videos and example images to keep you motivated. This tutorial is part of a series of tutorials on Exposure 3. If you found this helpful, take a look at the next video in the series, Vintage. I want to thank you for tuning in today. Until next time, this is Jimmy Beach with Alien Skin Software.